Good morning, guys. Well, what is going on? Welcome into the Set It Off Network. I am your host, Michael. I hope you're having a blessed Sunday. College football is back, and boy, is it already creating stress on the heart. It is Sunday, September 15th, day of our Lord 2024. LSU wins 36 to 33. South Carolina misses the game time field goal at the last second, so I guess you can call it a walk off. But LSU gets a road win. They're 1-0 in the SEC, 2-1 overall. And this game was not pretty, guys. Not pretty at all. This game was all kinds of drunk. I was in attendance, and I don't know how my heart is doing today. I I would hate to go to the doctor and get like blood work done today because my God, they probably tell me I'm dying because LSU dang near killed me yesterday. That was something. Being in attendance for that game, first of all, hats off to Columbia, South Carolina. The fans there, the environment for a noon kickoff, like it was awesome. It was a great experience. Super glad LSU won, but either way, South Carolina Stadium packed it out for college game day for the football game, and they were in it till the very end. So the people with this notion that South Carolina, you know, we should have steamrolled this team. Like that team thought on the other that team on the other sideline thought that they could win today, and they should have won, or that they should have won today. You know, so it's not a. This is kind of what LSU football is right now, and you're gonna have to kind of take the adjustment in because like LSU is not a tremendous football team. Like they're not an elite football team. I don't even think they're in the top tier with the Missouris, Tennessees. Like I don't think they're there yet. They can get there still, but they're not there yet for sure. So you go on the road, you get a win in Williams-Brice Stadium. That's not an easy thing in itself, all right? And then you're playing a tremendous football team. Like South Carolina proved to me yesterday that they are a good football team defensively. Offensively, they struggle to complete the forward pass, which really left the door open for you to win this football game because, like I said, LSU did not play well at all. This was easily their worst football game of the season. I know it's only a 3 game sample size, but LSU was horrible. You get down 17 to nothing in the first quarter, say early second quarter, um, and from that point on, you really took a hold of this football game. You really took it by the horns, and outside of 2 huge plays that your defense gave up, South Carolina's offense didn't do anything after that point. Um, so you open up the game. South Carolina gets the ball. You defer, thank God, because Lord knows how this game turns out if you didn't defer. Because deferring pretty much won you this football game. Being able to get the ball to open up the second half. So you kick off, you immediately go down the field, give up a touchdown in like 5 6 plays. Like it was quick, and you're already not feeling great, right? And then this South Carolina pass rush that we heard about all week was just absolutely dominating this offensive line. Like Will Campbell, Emory Jones were getting their tails handed to them. I don't remember what Five's name was, but number 5 had himself a day yesterday. He was in the backfield a lot, and he was matched up on Will Campbell a couple times and Emory Jones a couple times, and it really didn't matter in that first quarter. But credit where credit is due, because LSU did, man. LSU got down 17 to nothing. They got a punt blocked. They couldn't move the ball offensively. After the first quarter, they had 7 yards of offense, and they had the ball 3 times. 3 times they had 7 total yards of offense. South Carolina had 17 points. So to put that in perspective on how the game was going, but then you bounce back in the second quarter, you come up with about 165 total yards in the second half or in the second quarter and get yourself back into this football game. And even while you're getting yourself back into it, you're still messing up along the way to continue to give South Carolina chances after chances. And that was probably the most frustrating thing is because LSU was getting it going, and then it felt like every time they were getting it going, they would just like, South Carolina, please win this football game. and South Carolina just the offense wasn't going to be able to do it. They like oh man, this is going to sound terrible because South Carolina's quarterbacks are not good right now. I like Lenore Sellers. I'm from South Carolina. I watched Lenore Sellers play in high school. I know the kid's good. He has talent, but at this time and moment, South Carolina's quarterback room is not good. They struggle to complete forward passes. You go and look at the passes that South Carolina threw today. He threw one good pass. All right, it was that deep ball. I think they got PI called on it. Or no, they didn't get PI called on it. He threw a perfect ball as he was getting laid out too. Very impressive throw. But you're talking about a guy who went 9 for 16 for 113 yards and a terrible interception, which is another thing because South Carolina gave you a lot of chances as well because he fumbled as well. And so he throws the interception at it's 7-0 at this point. They're driving down the field again, and he throws the interception where God knows where he was throwing it. That's like that freshman stuff. I don't think Lenore Sellers is good right now, but I think he has the potential to be good. He's not. He's basically Robbie Ashford and Lenore Sellers are the same player right now. But South Carolina did everything that they could to keep you in this football game, and then LSU did everything to give South Carolina a game back. It was the most frustrating game to watch. I'm sure for both fan bases watching it. If you're watching it this morning, if you're watching it last night, like watching it live, it didn't matter. Because it was a penalty-filled game. It was a turnover-filled game. Like, it was not clean football by any means. So, you had... This is probably your stat of the game up until the last drive. LSU had forced 2 turnovers. They forced 4 fumbles. Four fumbles. They only recovered 2 of them. They had 3 turnovers total. They had the 1 pick in the back of the end zone that was a touchback. But they forced 2 fumbles inside of the red zone. Like the offense got the ball inside the 20. And you scored 3 points. 3 points. So why y'all want to talk about the defense? And the defense had its moments that it was terrible. No doubt. Because when you have a team that can't throw a forward pass, there is no excuse for giving up a 75-yard touchdown run and a 66-yard touchdown run. Because that's the only chance they had. Like, get in the box, do your job, and tackle them, and make them throw the football. That's all you had to do, and you did it every other time. You just gave up 2 long touchdown runs, which kept them in the football game. If you don't give up those big plays, that offense isn't doing anything against you. Like I said, from the time they scored that 17 points, they only scored 2 more touchdowns and then the field goal because you gave them all of it. So, like I said, the LSU defense, LSU did not play very good complementary football today because when the defense in the first half was getting turnovers and stuff, the LSU offense just couldn't capitalize on it. So it all went hand in hand, and people were dogging out the defense, and I get it, but you guys got to understand what this defense is. Like, this defense is not as bad as it was last year. And listen, this is going to hurt some of y'all's feelings. This defense is not as talented as the defense was last year. Yeah. So the fact that they're playing better obviously means you have better coaching. And the people is like, oh, the D-line, so the D-line. The D-line is just not as good as other people. So they're already behind the 8 ball, which puts all of the stress on the linebackers and the safeties to make these plays. And they're just not at that point where they're good enough to do that. So you have linebackers that bust assignments, that hit the wrong gaps and go to the wrong places. You have safeties that are one-on-one and miss tackles. Like, it's going to happen all year long, guys. I promise. It is going to happen all year long. LSU is not flying in 5-star kids to come play defensive tackle. Somebody might step up later on the season. Maybe you get Don McKinley in there later on in the year and he becomes that guy. But right now, you are what you are. And when a team can't throw a forward pass, I don't care how bad you are, it is inexcusable. That's on Blake Baker. That's on Bo Davis. That's on everybody, Kevin Peoples, all of them. It is inexcusable to give up a 75-yard touchdown run and a 66-yard touchdown run with not having a threat to throw the ball. Not one. That team threw four passes in the second half. Only 4 passes. An SEC football team. A Power 4 SEC football team threw 4 passes in the second half and still had a chance to tie the football game at the end of the game. I read off some stats to you. You want to talk about reverse padlock stats? I read these stats to you. LSU, 5 sacks, 9 tackles for loss, 4 forced fumbles. If I told you that stat before the game, and then I go and read off that Lenore Sellers had 113 yards passing and an interception. Granted, he only played the first half. But once again, we're not taking we'll do the whole total. 11 for 20 if you add in Robbie Ashford. 11 for 20, all right, for 155 yards and 1 interception. That's your passing stats, and that's your pass rushing stats. You had 5 sacks. 5 sacks, 4 forced fumbles, and 9 tackles for loss. I read that stat before the game. LSU wins this game by 40. That's what I'm saying. LSU wins this game by 40 because there is no excuse that this game should have been that close with that stat line. That's terrible. But because you played so terrible, you gave South Carolina every opportunity to try to win this football game. You had a punt block. You messed up the PAT. You threw 2 pick sixes that, thank God, South Carolina's idiot football team committed stupid penalties and took away pick sixes. I mean, they helped you so much. And all I want to say, my ending point is that you won the football game, which is all that matters. Granted, they have a lot of freaking issues, man, but they've got to get better as the season goes. They're going to get better because I hate to break it to you guys. This team is young. This team has new offensive coordinator. It's a younger defense with a new coaching staff. So this is all new stuff, man. And I'm telling you, I know the USC game, they played extremely well. I'm telling you right now, like, they played extremely well. It's not going to look like that a lot, because they didn't give up big plays against USC, which is super cool because that gave them the confidence, I think, to continue doing what. And they're going to make a lot of bad plays, but this team's going to make a lot more good plays than the team last year, and you just got to be able to capitalize on those good plays. LSU's offense has got to go down and score. The LSU offense can't get inside the 3 twice and come away with no points, or get inside the 20 after 2 turnovers and come away with 3 points. Before the last drive of the game where they got down on the 3-yard line, up into that point, they were inside the 3 twice and had 0 points to show for it. And then they had, on the 2 fumbles, they had only scored 3 points off of those 2 fumbles inside of the red zone. So you got the ball to the 3-yard line twice, 0 points. Got the ball to the 20, inside the 20 twice, and had 3 points. That can't happen. You got to help. You got to help the defense out when they do make plays for you. You know, it's got to be complimentary. And the defense won you this football game because they kept getting stops. They kept giving you a chance. Because the offense went out there with a chance to take the lead multiple times. And it took until the last drive of the game, thankfully, that they drove down the field and scored a touchdown. But the defense is why you won this football game. The offense put you behind the 8 ball because they couldn't block nobody in the first quarter. And the offense looked miserable because Nussmeier was on his ass. Every single time he threw the ball, he was getting put down. And like I said, you had a lot of fortunate mistakes by South Carolina. You know, them committing terrible penalties. The The blindside block was just awful. That had nothing to do with the play. You cost your team 7 points there, and then the horse collar tackle, I guess, is like an in the moment thing. It's hard to prevent that, but still, that you take up another pick six off the board. Doesn't matter do three pick sixes or two pick sixes today, and none of them counted. So you had your chances to lose this football game a lot. The stat that everybody's gonna want to talk about is the 243 yards you gave up rushing, right? And and while that's bad, and it's bad, it's bad, especially when you know the team's running the football and they can't throw the ball. It looks even worse. But you got to take into account two of those plays went for over 65 yards, and all the rest didn't. So it's one of those things where LSU's defense has to stunt. They has to do, or the D line has to stunt and twist and do things to create ways to fill running lanes on the defensive line, and they have to call certain calls. And sometimes when you call those calls, you get out of position. And what happens is you get out of position 1 out of the 10 plays. That one play might end up in a 75-yard touchdown run if you do it wrong. And that's kind of what happened. A linebacker hits the wrong gap or gets caught looking at a motion or any of that other stuff, and boom, next thing you know, you're down. You're giving up 7. And that's kind of what happened to LSU. If you go and rewatch the game, there was both the long touchdown runs was on motion plays, and the linebacker or safety got caught watching that guy and wasn't there to be or make the tackle. So listen, guys, I know yesterday was not a hip hip hooray moment for LSU. Glad they won, obviously. But you have 2 weeks. UCLA is a bad football team. South Alabama is a good G5 team. I don't know. But you have 2 weeks and a bye week to get better. You found a guy in Caden Durham who you can hand the ball off to, hopefully, and get some yards. And you've got 3 weeks to figure this out. Because in 3 weeks, Ole Miss comes to town. All right? You get this game at home off of a bye. If you're not ready to play then, all right, and you're not ready to take that next leap to be one of the better teams in the SEC, then it's going to get ugly, right? Because if LSU doesn't fix their mistakes and get better and play more consistent football, then it could get rough, because Ole Miss is a very good football team. This Ole Miss team is better than the team that beat you last year. Alabama's better, very good football team. They're gonna have their way with you as well if you don't fix some of the mistakes. So you've got 3 weeks. This LSU football team has 3 weeks. Obviously, congratulations on the win. You're 1-0 in conference play. Everything still to play for in front of you. We're taking it on a week-by-week basis here, man. Like I said, you got 3 weeks to figure things out, get better, and we'll see where this football team is at Ole Miss. And that's where we're really going to find out what this LSU football team is and what the potential is, because they still have the potential to be an elite football team. They just don't look like one right now, and it was rough. But like I said, man, happy LSU got the win. Makes for a wonderful Saturday. Saints are gonna beat the Cowboys today. Just throwing that in there as well. But I hope you guys enjoyed watching today, man. That's all I got for you guys. I hope you guys have a blessed rest of your weekend and a great work week. We're going to be previewing UCLA. If you see me down there, I'm going to be down in Louisiana this weekend at the UCLA game. So if you see me, say what's up. And I will see you guys next time. I appreciate you guys for watching.